And you literally go to Target, you get you a box, pretty box. Go to Michael's, get you a special bow, maybe a custom bow. And then you put in that box your whole life, your future, your name, your reputation. You pack that in that box, you put a pretty bow on it, and you deliver it to the feds to take you down. All the while in these last few years, Me Too movement, Harvey Weinstein, you're seeing all of these white men, these heavy hitters, these financial moguls being taken down one by one by one. It seems like you might have tried to stop when that started happening. Something would have rang a bell in your head and be like, you know what? I'm seeing all these niggas going to jail. Let me start cleaning up my act. There's something wrong in the mental capacities of someone who wants to fly people out, risk their life, risk their freedoms for freak-offs. Welcome to another episode of the That's Scary with Meloney P podcast. I'm your girl, Meloney P, and we are here to have a conversation. Everywhere you've turned, you have seen P. Diddy, D. Pitty, Dr. Love, Puff Daddy plastered all over your social media. And I feel like the angle, the conversation, the questions that are going on in my mind is probably not going to be like any other diddler conversation that you've seen on these channels. Here's my thing. What I want to understand so bad is the lust of it all, right? So I have read all 14 pages of the federal indictment from P. Diddy, 1,000 bottles of baby oil, pink powder, IVs to get rehydrated, sex dungeons, sex workers, prostitution. I mean, the list goes on and on. But here's my thing about this. The one thing that I really cannot wrap my mind around is someone having so much access, so much money, notoriety, fame, the ability to do what you want to do, the ability to go where you want to go, the ability to date and marry who you want to marry, infinite resources, infinite money, and you have such a strong lustful energy, lustful spirit inside of you that you would risk all that for sexual deviance, right? So for me, I just don't understand it. I just totally don't understand. And I honestly want to, and I'm honestly intrigued by I don't want to say demonic, right? But maybe demonic pull that strong of a lust feeling to just throw your life away. So I have a couple of thoughts. I guess sex, orgasms, whatever he's getting, fetishes, to me, the parallel to that could be, being addicted to drugs, being addicted to alcohol. That was my first thought. But then I'm like, okay, these things won't send you to jail for the rest of your life. You may get fat. You may have a messed up liver. You may ultimately die. You're probably dying a slow death from doing drugs and all that type of things. But it's not like I'm doing this knowing that I'm going to get caught, knowing that everything that I work for, everyone who's depending on me, my mom, all these kids I done had, they're all depending on me. And my lust inside was so strong, stronger than being a father, stronger than being a supporter of, for your parent, stronger than freedom. Period. Hard stop. Your lust, your lack of discipline, your ego, all of that is stronger than freedom. I honestly desperately want to understand, just merely out of curiosity, the mind of someone like that. Now, what I thought of was this. This has to come from some type of childhood trauma, because if you read the 14-page indictment, this has been going on longer than I thought, right? This has been going on in the days of Howard University. This is not, I became famous, I became partnered with, all of these celebrities, and then I became a sexual deviant, allegedly. This is something that had been brewing and brewing and brewing. And this money, this fame, this access, and then this corrupt music. The world of like music, R&B and hip hop is so corrupt. And him having the trauma, having the unhealed childhood issues, and then being thrown, and not even thrown, but voluntarily being, added to this music world, entertainment world, was just a very bad recipe. You hear all the stories allegedly of what happened to him, what he had to do allegedly with Clive Davis and different people. And, all of this is alleged, but this has to come from somewhere, I would assume. I don't think that anyone wakes up and has dreams of abusing other people, has dreams of assaulting other people, of low-key locking people up. I don't think somebody wakes up and has that desire. I don't ever recall hearing from Sean's mother a lot. I've seen some weird videos this week where they were kissing. People take stuff and they run with it. This is obviously a clickbait situation. It's free game, fair game when it comes to this situation. And it's very sad. It's just another black man that's going to likely spend the rest of his days in jail. We have a choice to make in life, all of us, every day. You have options, you have choices, and he has chosen the wrong choices. And here's the thing, the pride, the ego, all of that stuff that you think is so cool, it will always come back to bite you. And it makes me very sad. I don't think that my opinion is the popular opinion, because I have, is it empathy that I want to say? I have empathy towards P. Diddy. I have empathy towards the inner child that is crying out. I have empathy towards R. Kelly. As you get older, as life's, as you have experiences, as you meet people, as you partner with people and engage with people, you learn different things about how the human mind works and doesn't work. And there are a lot of people portraying to be a whole person, but they are not. And by that I mean, a lot of times the most boastful, loudest, seemingly confident, seemingly, I'm the best kind of person. Those are oftentimes the people with the darkest demons. Now, there's been a lot of conversation on the internet, and I want to get into some of the things that I've seen. Now, one of the things that I saw on the internet was from Bootsy, right? So Bootsy, I feel like I'm saying that in the most non-black way, but Bootsy was saying that, basically he's facing prison for doing what every other famous entertainer has done. He's just freakier. Now, Bootsy always be going left with these things. He always just be off, with the homosexual conversations and stuff like that. You've seen The View. You've seen Whoopi Goldberg say, is it a crime to have lubricant? And I feel so conflicted with this whole Diddy thing. What he's done allegedly is absolutely wrong, but I have pain for his children. But then I can't have too much pain because he did all of this to himself intentionally. And all those people who were surrounding him and helping him and aiding him in getting away with this abuse that he's put on people, they're also wrong, and they should also be charged. On numerous occasions from at least in or about 2009 and continuing for years, Combs assaulted women by other things like striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects, and kicking them. Combs' violence was not limited to these women. It extended to his employees, witnessed to his abuse, and others. In arranging these freak-offs, Combs, with the assistance of members and associates of the Combs enterprise, transported commercial sex workers across state lines and internationally. Now, this is what I don't understand. You're not Joe Blow out here at the UPS store working. You are a public figure. Do you not know that everybody has a price? Okay, so on my other show with me and Mike, make sure that you're subscribed to that channel. I will put the link in the bottom. One thing came up to where people, I feel like they were lying. The question came up last week. If Trump offered you $50,000 just to hang out with him and show him around your city, what would you do? Would you take the money? And everybody said no. And everybody lied, because everybody who I know who was on that live are not rich people, and they're people who need money. And here's the thing. I say that to say that everybody has a price. There's no way that you can be that trusting for your employees and your associates to hold such valuable information and not blackmail you, or not sell that story, or not, tip someone off for financial gain. And this is just dumb, careless, ruthless, immature, ignorant, like all of it. It doesn't make any sense. Freak offs. Freak offs is really given Marathon. What? There's something wrong in the mental capacities of someone who wants to fly people out, risk their life, risk their freedoms for freak offs. Freak offs occurred regularly, sometimes lasted multiple days, and often involved multiple commercial sex workers. During the freak offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims. How dumb can you be? Especially being a black man in America, especially seeing what R. Kelly went through. That is the part that makes me feel both sad and angry all in the same. Because just like R. Kelly, I just truly feel like, what happened to these men growing up or as children that created these seemingly monsters who risk everything for freak offs, for abuse? What is it? You can't think that you're that invincible to get away with this stuff as a black man in America. And that's what makes me very sad. And then to videotape your illegal activities, keep those videotapes, not even be smart enough to burn them. You have to think that you are that invincible. But then it takes me to this cliche word that everybody wants to use in 2024, and that is narcissism. When I think of the definition and think of the characteristics of narcissistic behavior, it helps me to understand, and not even understand, but it helps me to kind of like process how someone could be this way. People who have mental imbalances don't see life in reality. They don't see life the way a quote unquote normally functioning person sees life. And I feel like this is the case with R. Kelly. This is the case with Cosby. This is the case with P. Diddy. They have a mental imbalance that does not allow them to see the reality of the life that they're living. It doesn't allow them to see the consequences of their actions. The more they got away and get away with doing stuff and not being held accountable, the stronger and the more invincible they think they are. And the sad part is, I don't even think it's their fault. I do think that it is a mental imbalance in the brain. The one common denominator that I see with R. Kelly and with Sean is that I believe there's been alleged conversation about, sexual abuse as a child. And then that takes me to this other thought, this other conversation, and the importance of parents' role in children's lives. Because if I had to guess, I would guess that Sean and Robert have had traumatic experiences growing up as a child. I would venture to guess that they have had or been victims of some kind of sexual abuse as a child, or some kind of physical abuse as a child. And that has manifested into them being these predators that they have become. Oftentimes, predators are or were victims. Predators were prey before they got out of the situation, and now they have become the very thing that destroyed them. It's just a very sad story. The videos, like, again, look at the commonalities in these two stories. being with younger people, both Robert and Sean, videotaping, these disgusting acts, using drugs and alcohol, having these long freak off events. There's so much commonality into both of those stories. And I think that there should be not just jail when it comes to these situations, but there should be some type of rehabilitation classes, or there should be some type of rehabilitation in this situation. So if he's going to jail for 30 plus years, it shouldn't just be lock you up and throw away the key. There should be something to help understand these predators. And there should be so much more focus on mental health. There should be so much more focus on taking away the taboo-ness of Black men in therapy. That's one thing that, when it comes to Charlemagne the God, one thing I really, really like about him is that he advocates for Black men to get healed. He advocates for Black men to take accountability. He advocates for Black men to think that going to therapy, healing yourself, doing the work, being the best person that you can be, showing up for your family, showing up for your friends in the most healthiest way that you can. He makes that, or attempts to make that, cool in the Black community, specifically with Black males. And for some reason, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's life coaching me. Maybe it's my experiences. But when I see these men doing these things, it makes me sadder versus I feel like with some people, they're like, lock him up, lock him up. He's an abuser, lock him up. But what I see is what happened to him? What happened to these people? But then also, let me keep it a buck. And I hate to throw that race card out there, but Hugh Hefner, did he ever spend jail time? All these allegations against Hugh Hefner, did he ever go to jail? Did he ever spend time or, be watched by the feds for all the sick stuff that he allegedly did? So then that's why it's just so many, there's so much unbalanced thoughts when it comes to this, because Black man in America, you idiot, why are you doing this? They want to get you. They want to pull you down. You up here having these rich parties with all this money, with all this access, with all this, that, starting businesses, demanding this, being chauffeured, having somebody walk around with an umbrella over your head, all these things. Unfortunately, they don't like to see that. And you literally go to Target, you get you a box, pretty box, go to Michael's, get you a special bow, maybe a custom bow, and then you put in that box your whole life, your future, your name, your reputation. You pack that in that box, you put a pretty bow on it, and you deliver it to the feds to take you down. And that is one of the things. It makes absolutely no sense. After the freak-offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. Then that leads to this, you think about Young Miami. I just don't think she's going to be able to walk away clean, no pun intended, walk away clean from this the way she thinks she is. She feels like she got up there, had Saucy Santana interview her, and that was her story, and that's the end. I just don't think that's the end of it. I don't. I think that everyone that has associated themselves with Sean should be very scared right now, should be very uncomfortable, because who else was in those videos? I saw a post on social media, and it was going down memory lane of all the celebrities that have taken pictures with Sean, that have been at his parties. And it was just like, Jesus. And now everybody wants to bring Jay-Z's name up. And it's just like, Combs maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promises of career opportunities, granting and threatening to withhold financial support, and by other coercive means, including tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their house, and supplying them with controlled substances. Who sold him those substances? Who would be dumb enough to, sell this man all these drugs? Now, again, they probably can't trace that back, I suppose, but it's just dumb. It's just really giving your career, your livelihood, your name, your legacy, giving it to the feds in a box with a bow. What in the world? Like, that is a sick thing. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't be that much of a surprise because, you have pedophiles out here, you have rapists, you have serial killers, you have people who are abusing people physically and mentally every day. Just because you're not doing it, just because you see this shit on TV, this shit ain't just for television. It's people out here who are fucked up in the head. And the scary part about it is these people like Robert, like Sean, in their brain, they're invincible. And they're telling a lie to themselves every day. They're brainwashing themselves every single day to believe that they are invincible. Then, another sad thing that made me feel bad is, he's been in jail, I believe, since the 10th, 16th, one of those dates. He didn't even make bail. They didn't even give him an opportunity for bail. And so they're posting all of these, court drawings of him in front of the judge and with his lawyer. And it just, even though it's not even a real picture of him and it's a horrible drawing, honestly, of him, it just makes me feel sad. Seeing his children walk up those court steps to sit in the audience and support him. You got to think about this. You ain't just have no kids. These kids are adults. Your daughters, your twin daughters, like your lustful, undisciplined, immature, mental nutcase, basically, that is stronger than your love for your children. And that makes me so sad because I definitely think there is some mental issues here. And here's the thing. People see people like Sean, like Robert, dressed up, looking good, haircut neat, smelling good. Those are some of the biggest narcissists out there, but you don't associate them sometimes with bipolar disorder, with personality disorder, with narcissistic characteristics because they look good. They talk a good game. But mentally, it's something wrong. It's really something wrong with them. And now, it's been said allegedly that even when he was arrested, he had pink powder on him getting arrested. Oh, God. Those beautiful children, those beautiful daughters that he has, it's just basically a wrap for them. What does this look like? His crimes are associated with sentences that could literally be life or death. Literally. What he's being charged for, those charges could result in life in prison or death, the death penalty. Now it looks like Cassie is saying they're showing text message. So assistant U.S. attorney says that there was a commercial sex worker in the hotel room when that video that was circulating several months ago of Diddy beating and abusing Cassie, there was a sex worker in the room then. And then for him to say something stupid as, he promises not to have women at the house if they give him bail. Like, sir, it's really a wrap for you. It's really a wrap for you. I'm going to keep it a buck with you as well. I'm always on the side of the victim, but I have to say that when you are this type of celebrity with this type of access, you do have power over people. And sometimes people will put themselves in place for you to be able to use them so they can get out of you what they need: money, bags, cars, names, whatever the case might be. So whereas I know that they're victims, but I'm sure that there's some people who may have been planted, just to spy on his ass, who may have been plotting on him the whole entire time. Just the thought of seeing P. Diddy in jail, sleeping on a cot when he was just in Saint-Tropez a couple of months ago. How do you go from that to sleeping on a cot in a jail cell? Again, what he did was horrible, but something upstairs cannot be right if you are doing things like this, thinking that that's your God, that you're invincible, that you're untouchable. It's ridiculous. And the thing of it is that this has been going on for a very long time, But all the while in these last few years, Me Too movement, Harvey Weinstein, all the other guy, I can't think of their names, but you're seeing all of these white men, these heavy hitters, you know, these financial moguls being taken down one by one by one. It seems like you might have tried to stop when that started happening, or something would have rang a bell in your head and be like, you know what? I'm seeing all these niggas going to jail. Let me start cleaning up my act. But he didn't do that. And not only did he not do that, he even allegedly had powder on him when they came to arrest him. I don't know. I'm really curious to see, you know, if anyone out there kind of agrees with where I'm coming from with all of this. You know, I want to know about his childhood. I want to know about traumatic events that may have happened to him in his childhood that led him down this path. I want to know, was he, you know, assaulted as a young child? I want to know these things, honestly, so we can identify these things and put a name on them, get an understanding for them, and help people, help children, you know, help teenagers, and make people feel comfortable to tell their truth and to get healed. You know, not continue to self-medicate, not continue to self-heal because you ain't healing, and not continuing to sabotage your life and those around you and your children. So I'm going to be back to talk more about this. Make sure that you guys are tuned in to the What Was Said podcast with me and Mike. We will be going live tomorrow. If this comes out tomorrow morning, then we go live every Thursday at 8:50. What Was Said podcast. It is so much fun. Listen, let me turn the mood around. Every Thursday we go live. We talk about what was said in the week. We talk about hot topics. We have people call in. We have a couple of drinks, a couple of keys, and we really have some really great conversations. And I'm loving the audience growing. I'm loving the conversation in the comments. But make sure that you're subscribed to that channel. I'm gonna drop it in the description. Make sure you comment. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next week.